My daughter's swim instructor pulled me aside and asked, "Does your ex-wife have a key to your house?" The question hit me like cold water. I was standing poolside at the Riverside Aquatic Center, watching my 7-year-old daughter Lily practice her backstroke through the observation window. Coach Amanda Reeves had walked out from the pool deck, still dripping, her expression serious in a way that made my stomach clench. "What? No? Why would you ask that?" My voice came out sharper than I intended. Amanda glanced back toward the pool where Lily was climbing out, then pulled me further down the hallway away from the other parents. "Your daughter told me something today that concerns me. She said someone comes into her room at night when you're asleep. A woman. She thought it was you at first. But then she realized you were still in your bedroom." The floor felt unsteady beneath me. "That's not possible. We have an alarm system. I set it every night." Amanda's green eyes held mine with uncomfortable intensity. "Does your ex-wife have any reason to want access to your home? Any unresolved custody issues?" My divorce from Kristen had been finalized 8 months ago. Bitter didn't begin to cover it. She'd fought for full custody and lost, the judge citing her increasingly erratic behavior and my stable home environment as deciding factors. But a key? Breaking in? That was insane. She turned in her keys when she moved out. I watched her do it. Amanda nodded slowly, but her expression said she wasn't convinced. "I'm a mandated reporter. If your daughter is telling me someone is entering her room at night, I have to take that seriously, even if it sounds impossible." She handed me a business card. "This is the number for Child Protective Services. You might want to call them yourself before I file a report. And maybe change your locks." She walked back toward the pool deck, leaving me standing in the fluorescent hallway with a business card burning a hole in my palm. I watched through the window as Lily practiced her dolphin kicks, her blonde hair streaming behind her like seaweed. She looked happy, normal, not like a child being visited by ghosts in the night. The drive home took 20 minutes through evening traffic. Lily chattered about her swimming progress, about how Coach Amanda said she might be ready for the advanced class soon. I made appropriate sounds of encouragement while my mind spun through possibilities. Sleepwalking? Night terrors? Or something worse? Our house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac in a quiet neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a small yard where Lily's swing set stood rusting. I'd bought it in the divorce settlement, taking on debt I could barely afford because I needed to provide stability for my daughter. The alarm panel by the front door showed green, armed and disarmed correctly that morning. No breaches. I made dinner while Lily did homework at the kitchen table. Mac and cheese from a box, the kind Kristen used to criticize as nutritionally inadequate. One of many criticisms that had eroded our marriage year by year. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" Lily's voice was small. I turned from the stove. "Of course, sweetheart. Anything." She twisted her pencil between her fingers. "Do you ever hear noises at night? Like someone walking around?" My heart rate spiked. "What kind of noises?" She shrugged, eyes downcast. "Just footsteps, and my door opening sometimes. I thought maybe it was you checking on me." I sat down across from her, forcing my voice to stay calm. "When does this happen? How often?" Lily thought for a moment. "Maybe 3 or 4 times? The first time was a few weeks ago. I woke up and someone was standing by my bed. I thought it was you, but when I said Daddy, she didn't answer. Then she left really fast." The pronoun registered. "She. You're sure it was a woman?" Lily nodded. "She smelled like Mommy's perfume, that flowery one she used to wear." My blood ran cold. Kristen wore Chanel No. 5. Distinctive, expensive, unmistakable. But this had to be Lily's imagination. Some kind of wishful thinking about her mother combined with normal childhood fears. "And you didn't think to tell me about this?" Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I thought you'd be mad. You and Mommy always fought about me telling tales." The phrase struck me. Telling tales. That was Kristen's exact wording whenever Lily tried to tell her side of their arguments. My ex-wife had gaslit our 7-year-old into doubting her own perceptions. After Lily went to bed, I checked every window, every door, all locked. The alarm system showed no record of breaches in the past month. I pulled up the logs on my phone. Armed at 10:47 p.m., disarmed at 6:23 a.m. The same pattern every night. No gaps, no anomalies. But I couldn't shake Amanda's question or Lily's certainty about what she'd seen. I called my best friend Tyrell, who worked security at the university. He answered on the second ring. "What's up?" I explained the situation, trying to keep my voice level. Tyrell was quiet for a long moment. "You still got that alarm system from Guardian Security? The DX4000 model?" I checked the panel. "Yeah, why?" He cursed softly. "Those systems have a backdoor vulnerability. If someone knows the installer code, they can create a secondary user that doesn't show up in your logs. It was a huge thing in the security community last year. Most people never bothered updating their firmware." My chest tightened. Kristen set up the alarm system. She dealt with the installer because I was working late that week. Tyrell's silence said everything. I spent the next hour on the phone with Guardian Security. The technician confirmed what Tyrell had told me. Someone with the installer code could create ghost users whose entries wouldn't appear in standard logs. "We can send a technician tomorrow to check for unauthorized codes and update your firmware," the woman said, her voice professionally sympathetic. "But if you suspect someone has been entering your home, you should call the police." I didn't call the police. Not yet. Because if I was wrong, If this was all Lily's imagination combined with a technical vulnerability that no one had exploited, I'd look paranoid. Kristen's lawyer would use it against me in court, claim I was creating a hostile environment, using our daughter's fears to turn her against her mother. Instead, I went to Walmart and bought 3 cheap motion-activated cameras. I installed one in the hallway, pointing at Lily's door, one in her room angled to cover the window and doorway, and one covering the front entrance. They connected to an app on my phone, recording to cloud storage. If someone was entering my house, I'd have proof. That night, I set the alarm as usual, kissed Lily goodnight, checked the camera feeds on my phone. Everything quiet. I left my bedroom door open and my phone on the nightstand, volume turned up. At 2:17 a.m., motion detection alert. My phone buzzed. I grabbed it, heart hammering, and pulled up the live feed. The hallway camera showed Lily's door opening slowly. A figure emerged into the hallway, moving toward the bathroom. Small, child-sized. Just Lily getting up to pee. I watched her return to her room 3 minutes later, reset the alert, and tried to fall back asleep. At 3:42 a.m., another alert. This time, when I checked the feed, my blood turned to ice. The hallway camera showed a woman standing outside Lily's door, not opening it, just standing there, watching. The camera angle didn't show her face clearly, but I could see shoulder-length dark hair, slim build, wearing dark clothing. The figure stood motionless for 37 seconds according to the timestamp. Then she turned and walked down the hallway toward the front door, moving with eerie confidence in the darkness. I threw off my covers and ran to the hallway. Empty. Checked Lily's room. She was sleeping peacefully, undisturbed. The front door was locked, chain in place, alarm showing green. Armed. No breach. But the camera didn't lie. Someone had been in my house. I pulled up the recording and watched it again, zooming in on the figure. The video quality was poor in the low light, but something about her posture, her movements, felt familiar. I forwarded the video to Tyrell with shaking hands, then checked every room in the house. Nothing disturbed. No signs of entry, no signs of exit. The woman had simply vanished. Tyrell called at 6:15 a.m., waking me from an anxious half-sleep on the couch. "Is Lily okay?" His voice was tight. "She's fine. Still sleeping. Did you see the video?" He made a sound that might have been a laugh or a curse. "Yeah, I saw it. That's Kristen, man. I'd recognize that walk anywhere." I'd been trying not to think it, but hearing Tyrell confirm it made it real. My ex-wife had been standing outside our daughter's bedroom at 3:42 in the morning, inside a house she shouldn't have been able to access. I called in sick to work, sent an email to my boss about a family emergency. Then, I sat at the kitchen table reviewing the camera footage from the previous 3 nights, footage I'd captured but hadn't monitored closely. Each night, the same pattern. Kristen entering around 2:30 or 3:04 a.m., spending time standing outside Lily's room or in the hallway, then leaving. Never entering Lily's room on camera, but the angles didn't cover every approach. On Wednesday night, she'd spent 7 minutes standing motionless in the hallway, just watching Lily's closed door. The behavior was disturbing beyond comprehension. What was she doing? Why was she watching our daughter sleep? Why not just knock on the door like a normal person if she wanted to see Lily? I called Amanda Reeves, the swim instructor. She picked up immediately. "I need to make a report. You were right to be concerned." She listened as I explained about the cameras, the footage, the alarm system vulnerability. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Mr. Foster, I'm going to be honest with you. This is beyond a CPS call. This is breaking and entering. This is stalking. You need to call the police right now and get a restraining order." The detective assigned to my case was a woman named Lisa Thornhill, mid-40s with tired eyes that had seen too much. She watched the camera footage 3 times in my living room while Lily was at school. "How certain are you that this is your ex-wife?" Her voice was neutral, professional. I showed her photos of Kristen on my phone. Same height, same build, same hair. Thornhill nodded. "We'll need to verify. The video quality isn't great for positive identification. But combined with your daughter's statements and the alarm system vulnerability, we have enough for a warrant to search her residence and question her." She paused. "Has your ex-wife shown any prior concerning behavior? Anything that might explain this pattern?" I thought about the last months of our marriage. Kristen's increasing paranoia about my relationship with Lily. Her accusations that I was trying to turn our daughter against her. The time I came home to find her going through my phone, convinced I was hiding something. The custody battle where her lawyer had painted me as controlling and manipulative, projecting Kristen's own behaviors onto me. "She became very focused on Lily during the divorce," I said carefully. "Almost obsessive. She wanted full custody desperately. When she lost, she told the judge I'd somehow manipulated the system, that she'd prove I was an unfit parent." Thornhill wrote something in her notebook. "Did she threaten you directly?" I shook my head. "Nothing explicit, but she said she'd be watching, that she'd know if anything happened to Lily under my care." The detective's expression darkened. "That's going in the report. I'm going to request an emergency restraining order today. You'll need to appear before a judge tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I want you to document everything. Any contact, any unusual occurrences, anything your daughter says about these nighttime visits." She stood up to leave, then turned back. "Mr. Foster, I want you to understand something. What we're seeing here is a pattern of behavior consistent with obsessive surveillance. In domestic cases, this kind of stalking behavior can escalate. You need to take this seriously. After she left, I sat in the silent house trying to process it all. My ex-wife had been breaking into my home for weeks, watching our daughter sleep. The Guardian security technician arrived at 2 p.m. Young guy named Derek who looked barely out of college. He connected his laptop to my alarm panel and started running diagnostics. "Oh yeah, you've definitely got a ghost user in here." He showed me the screen. "See this? User code 7734. That's not in your authorized list, but it's been used to disarm your system 23 times in the past 40 days. 23 times. The number made me dizzy. How many nights had Kristen been coming into my house while I slept? How many times had she stood over Lily's bed? Can you tell when this code was created?" Derek scrolled through logs. "Created on March 15th at 9:47 p.m. Does that date mean anything to you?" March 15th, the day the divorce was finalized. Kristen had created her secret access code the same day she legally lost custody of our daughter. The technician deleted the unauthorized code, updated the firmware, and reset the entire system with a new master code. "You're secure now," he said. "No one's getting in unless you authorize them." But the damage was done. Kristen knew the layout of the house intimately. She'd been watching us for over a month, learning our routines, our vulnerabilities. What had she been planning? The emergency restraining order hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. the next morning. I arranged for Lily to stay with Tyrell and his wife overnight. Didn't tell her why. Just said Daddy had to handle some boring adult stuff, and she'd have a fun sleepover instead. She was excited, didn't ask questions. That night, I sat in the living room with all the lights off, watching the camera feeds on my phone. The new alarm code was set. The house was locked down, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. At 2:47 a.m., motion alert. The exterior camera I'd positioned covering the front door showed a figure approaching the house. Kristen. She was wearing dark clothes, hair pulled back, moving confidently up the walkway. She reached the door and tried her old key. It didn't work, the locks having been changed that afternoon. She tried again, then pulled out her phone and typed something. The alarm panel by the door stayed green. She was trying her ghost code, but it no longer existed. I watched as confusion crossed her face, visible now in the porch light. She tried the code twice more, then stepped back and looked up at the house, looked directly at the camera. For a long moment, we stared at each other through the digital connection. Her expression wasn't angry or surprised. It was calculated. She knew I was watching. Then she smiled, a cold, controlled expression that made my skin crawl, and walked away. I called Detective Thornhill immediately. She answered, sounding alert despite the hour. "She just tried to break in. I have it on video." Thornhill made a satisfied sound. "Perfect. That's attempted breaking and entering on camera. Send me the footage right now. I'm going to have officers pick her up before your hearing." The police arrested Kristen at 4:30 a.m. at her apartment 3 miles away. She didn't resist. Didn't ask questions. Just went quietly, as if she'd been expecting it. The restraining order hearing became a formality. The judge reviewed the video evidence, read Detective Thornhill's report, and listened to my testimony about the unauthorized alarm code and the weeks of unauthorized entry. "Mrs. Foster," the judge said, his voice cold, "you understand you're facing criminal charges for breaking and entering, stalking, and violation of custody agreements?" Kristen stood beside her lawyer, composed and put together in a navy blue suit. "Your Honor, I was simply concerned about my daughter's welfare. Her father has been exhibiting paranoid behavior, installing cameras, making unfounded accusations. I wanted to verify she was safe." The judge stared at her. "By breaking into your ex-husband's home in the middle of the night? By creating unauthorized access codes to his security system? Mrs. Foster, that's not concern. That's criminal behavior." Kristen's composure cracked slightly. "He's turning her against me. I just needed to see her, to make sure she was okay." The judge shook his head. "Restraining order granted. No contact with Mr. Foster or the minor child until the criminal case is resolved. Court will reconvene for the criminal charges next month." Kristen's lawyer was already whispering urgently to her as they led her out of the courtroom. She looked back at me once, and the hatred in her eyes was pure and undiluted. I thought that would be the end of it. Restraining order in place, criminal charges pending, Kristen would back off. I was wrong. 3 days after the hearing, Lily's school called. My daughter had been checked out early by someone claiming to be her grandmother, Kristen's mother, Barbara Foster, who I'd specifically excluded from the authorized pickup list. I broke every speed limit getting to Barbara's house on the other side of town, called 911 on the way, reported a parental kidnapping. By the time I arrived, police were already there. Barbara answered the door looking defiant. "She has a right to see her mother. You're being vindictive and cruel." Detective Thornhill appeared behind Barbara. "Mrs. Foster, your daughter-in-law has a restraining order that specifically prohibits any contact with the child. By facilitating this meeting, you've become an accessory to violation of that order." Inside the house, I found Lily sitting on a couch next to Kristen, who was crying and holding our daughter's hand. "Baby, Daddy's trying to keep us apart," Kristen was saying. "But Mommy loves you so much. You know that, right?" Lily looked confused and scared. She pulled away when she saw me. "Daddy, Mommy says you told lies about her, that you made the police take her away. I knelt in front of my daughter, ignoring Kristen's presence. Sweetheart, Mommy wasn't supposed to come into our house at night. It scared you, remember? You told Coach Amanda about being scared. Recognition flickered in Lily's eyes. But Mommy said she was just checking on me, that mommies are supposed to check on their babies. Kristen started to speak, but Thornhill cut her off. Mrs. Foster, you're under arrest for violation of a restraining order. You have the right to remain silent. The scene that followed was traumatic for everyone. Kristen screaming about parental rights as they handcuffed her, Barbara threatening lawsuits, Lily crying and not understanding why her mother was being arrested. I carried my daughter to my car and drove away while Thornhill handled the arrests. Both Kristen and Barbara were taken into custody. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She came into my room at 10:00 p.m., clutching her stuffed rabbit. Daddy, why is everyone so mad? Why can't Mommy just visit like normal? I pulled her into bed beside me. Because Mommy wasn't visiting normally. She was coming in when we were sleeping, without permission. That's not safe. Lily processed this. But she's my mommy. Mommies are supposed to take care of their kids. The logic was childlike and heartbreaking. Yes, they are, but they're supposed to do it in ways that are safe and follow the rules. Coming into someone's house in the middle of the night isn't safe, even if it's your mommy. She fell asleep eventually, curled against my side. I stayed awake, wondering how to explain to a 7-year-old that her mother's love had twisted into something dangerous and obsessive. The criminal trial was set for 6 weeks later. Kristen's lawyer tried to argue mental health crisis, postpartum depression years late, anything to explain away the systematic breaking and entering. The prosecutor had a stronger case. Video evidence, alarm system logs, testimony from Amanda Reeves about Lily's reports, my testimony, Detective Thornhill's investigation. The defense called a psychiatrist who diagnosed Kristen with adjustment disorder related to the divorce, claimed she'd been acting out of maternal concern, not malicious intent. The prosecutor called his own expert who reviewed the footage and testified about predatory stalking behavior, about the calculated nature of creating the ghost alarm code, about the escalating pattern that often led to violence. On the 7th day of trial, something broke. I was sitting in the courtroom during the lunch recess when Kristen's lawyer approached me. My client wants to speak with you, off the record. I looked at Detective Thornhill, who'd become something like a friend through this process. She shook her head slightly, warning me, but I agreed. We sat in a small conference room, just Kristen and me, across a table. She looked thinner, older, worn down by the process. I'm going to plead guilty, she said without preamble, to all of it. Breaking and entering, stalking, violation of the restraining order. I waited. This felt like a trap. But I need you to understand something. Her voice cracked. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I just couldn't stand being away from her, not seeing her grow up. I know I made mistakes during our marriage, but I never stopped loving Lily. So you broke into our house over 20 times? Stood outside her room watching her sleep? That's not love, Kristen. That's obsession. She flinched. I know how it looks. My therapist has helped me see that. I was trying to hold on to something I'd already lost. The divorce, losing custody, it broke something in me. I couldn't accept it. I leaned forward. You created that situation. Your behavior during the marriage, your paranoia, your attempts to control everything. The judge saw that. Everyone saw it except you. Tears ran down her face. I know. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking if, someday, when Lily is older, you'll let me explain. Let me apologize to her. Let me try to rebuild something with my daughter. I thought about 7-year-old Lily asking why everyone was so mad, about her confusion over her mother's love becoming a criminal act. If you plead guilty, if you get help, if you prove over years that you're stable, then maybe. But that's for Lily to decide when she's old enough to understand. Kristen nodded. That's all I can ask. The plea deal was finalized within a week. Kristen pled guilty to multiple counts of breaking and entering, stalking, and violation of a restraining order. The judge sentenced her to 2 years in prison, with credit for time served, followed by 5 years of probation and mandatory psychiatric treatment. The restraining order would remain in place for 10 years, reviewable only if Kristen could demonstrate sustained mental health stability, and Lily, when old enough, consented to contact. Barbara Foster received a suspended sentence for her role in the kidnapping incident, contingent on having no contact with Lily or me for 5 years. The judge's final words to Kristen were harsh, but fair. Mrs. Foster, love does not justify violation of boundaries. Love does not justify stalking. Love does not justify terrorizing a child in her own home. You need to understand the difference between love and possession. Until you do, you are a danger to your daughter. I took Lily to see a child therapist named Dr. Sarah Winston, who specialized in family trauma. For months, we worked through the confusion and fear. Lily drew pictures of her room, of doors opening, of shadows. Slowly, the nightmares diminished. Amanda Reeves checked in regularly, asking how Lily was doing with swimming, with school, with everything. She'd become an unexpected ally, her early intervention potentially preventing something far worse. 6 months after Kristen's sentencing, Lily asked me about her mother for the first time since the trial. Is Mommy ever coming back? We were having breakfast, normal Saturday morning routine. I set down my coffee. Not for a long time, sweetheart. And when she does get out of jail, she won't be able to see you unless you want to see her, and only if the court says it's safe. Lily absorbed this. Did mommy love me? The question broke my heart. Yes, your mommy loved you very much. But sometimes love gets confused with other feelings like fear and control. Your mommy was scared of losing you, and that fear made her do bad things. Lily nodded slowly. Coach Amanda says love means respecting people's boundaries. That real love wants people to feel safe. I silently blessed Amanda Reeves for having that conversation with my daughter. Coach Amanda is absolutely right. A year after everything happened, I received a letter from Kristen, forwarded through her lawyer per the restraining order terms. She'd been working with a psychiatrist in prison, doing intensive therapy for what they'd diagnosed as obsessive-compulsive personality disorder with paranoid features. She wrote about understanding now how her behavior had traumatized Lily, about the years of work ahead to maybe, someday, prove she could be a safe presence in our daughter's life. She didn't ask for forgiveness, didn't ask for contact, just wanted me to know she was trying to change. I filed the letter away in a locked drawer. Maybe someday Lily would want to read it, but not now. Not while she was still healing from the trauma of her mother's obsessive love. Terrell and I were sitting on my back porch, watching Lily play on her swing set, now repaired and painted. He'd become like an uncle to her, a stable presence through the chaos. You doing okay? He asked. I thought about it. Yeah, we're getting there. Lily's doing better in school. Her nightmares are down to maybe once a month. We're rebuilding something normal. He nodded. That's good, man. You handled this right. A lot of guys would have ignored the warning signs, let it escalate. I thought about Amanda Reeves pulling me aside at the pool, about that one question that had changed everything. I almost did ignore it, I admitted. Almost convinced myself Lily was having nightmares, that I was being paranoid. If Amanda hadn't pushed me to take it seriously, if I hadn't installed those cameras, Terrell squeezed my shoulder. But you did. You listened to your daughter. You believed her. That's what matters. 2 years later, Lily was 9 and thriving. Advanced swim class, honor roll at school, starting to ask questions about what had happened with her mother. Dr. Winston had prepared me for this, the developmental stage where children need more concrete answers. Mommy made some bad choices because she was feeling sick in her mind, I explained one evening. She loved you, but she loved you in a way that wasn't healthy. Like if you loved candy so much that you ate it until you got sick. The love itself isn't bad, but the way she showed it was harmful. Lily considered this with the seriousness of a child becoming aware of adult complexities. Will she get better? I chose my words carefully. She's working on it, but getting better takes a long time, and even then, things won't be like they were before. Because you deserve to feel safe, and we have to make sure that comes first. Lily nodded. I miss having a mommy sometimes, but I'm glad you protected me. Those words made everything worth it. The legal bills I was still paying off, the nights I'd spent sleeping on the couch watching camera feeds, the trauma of watching my ex-wife get arrested in front of our daughter, all of it justified by those simple words. 3 years after Kristen's sentencing, I received notice she was up for early release due to good behavior and successful completion of her treatment program. The parole board would review her case, including the sustained restraining order. I attended the hearing with Detective Thornhill, now retired but willing to advocate for continued restrictions. Kristen appeared via video from the prison, looking healthier, more stable, like someone who'd done real work on themselves. Her psychiatrist testified about her progress, about her understanding of boundaries, and her acceptance that rebuilding a relationship with Lily would take years, if it happened at all. The parole board granted early release, but maintained the restraining order. Kristen could be free, could rebuild her life, but she couldn't contact Lily or me unless Lily, with therapeutic support and legal oversight, initiated contact. She wouldn't be allowed within 500 feet of our home, Lily's school, or any location we frequented regularly. When I told Lily about her mother's release, she asked the question I'd been dreading. Do I have to see her? I knelt in front of my now 10-year-old daughter. No, you never have to see her if you don't want to. But if you ever do want to, even years from now, we'll make sure it happens in a safe way with people there to help you. It's completely your choice. Lily thought for a moment. Not now. Maybe when I'm older and can understand better. Dr. Winston had predicted this response. The healthy boundary of a child who'd been given agency over her own relationships, who understood she could love someone and still need distance from them. 4 years after everything, I stood at the side of a pool watching Lily compete in a regional swimming championship. She'd grown tall and strong, her backstroke technique flawless under Amanda Reeves's continued coaching. In the stands, Tyrell and his family cheered, some of Lily's school friends and their parents. Our community, carefully built and maintained. After Lily won her heat, she climbed out of the pool and ran to me, dripping and grinning. Did you see, Dad? Did you see? I hugged her, not caring about getting wet. I saw everything. You were amazing. Amanda Reeves appeared beside us. She's got real talent. If she keeps working like this, she could compete at state level next year. We talked about training schedules and goals while Lily changed. Normal parent-coach conversation about a healthy, thriving child. As we walked to the car, Lily said, "Coach Amanda told me something today. She said she was proud of how brave I was when I told her about being scared, that speaking up probably saved my life." I stopped walking. "She told you that?" Lily nodded. "She said sometimes adults make mistakes, and kids are the ones who have to be brave enough to ask for help. She said I helped her remember to always listen when kids tell her something's wrong." That night, I wrote Amanda an email thanking her for her role in everything, for taking Lily's concerns seriously, for asking that one crucial question that had set everything in motion. She responded simply, "That's why I became a teacher, to keep kids safe, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it means asking hard questions. Thank you for listening when I did." 5 years after Kristen's arrest, Lily turned 12. She'd started middle school, was talking about maybe trying out for the swim team at the high school when she got there, had friends and sleepovers and a life that felt beautifully normal. On her birthday, a letter arrived from Kristen, not requesting contact, just acknowledging Lily's birthday and expressing hope that she was happy and healthy. Lily read it with Dr. Winston in a therapy session, then came home and asked if she could write back. "Just to say thank you for the birthday wishes. Nothing else." I agreed. The letter she wrote was brief and polite, establishing a boundary while acknowledging the gesture. It was perfect, mature, exactly what Dr. Winston had hoped for. Months passed. Lily wrote one more letter, around Christmas, again brief and boundaried. Kristen responded appropriately, respecting the limitations, never pushing for more than Lily offered. The healing, it seemed, was happening on both sides. 7 years after that night I'd first seen Kristen on my security camera, I sat across from Detective Thornhill at a coffee shop. She'd stayed in touch, checking in periodically on Lily's well-being and my own recovery from the trauma. "You ever think about what might have happened if you'd ignored the swim instructor's warning?" she asked. I'd thought about it many times. The escalation patterns in stalking cases, the statistics about violence, the way Kristen's behavior had been accelerating before we'd stopped it. "Yeah, I think it would have gotten worse. I think eventually something would have snapped." Thornhill nodded. "I've worked these cases for 20 years. The ones who get caught early like yours usually end better than the ones that escalate. You made the right call at every turn, believed your daughter, installed cameras, called police, didn't try to handle it yourself." She leaned forward. "You want to know something? I use your case in training now, as an example of how protective parents should respond when their kid reports something concerning. You're literally in the textbook." The thought was surreal. Our family's trauma had become a teaching moment, but if it helped other families avoid what we'd been through, maybe that gave it meaning. Lily graduated 8th grade with honors. At the ceremony, she gave a speech about resilience and speaking up when something feels wrong. She didn't mention her mother or what we'd been through, but I heard the echoes of those experiences in her words about trusting your instincts and asking for help. After the ceremony, Amanda Reeves found me in the crowd. "She's remarkable. You should be proud." I was. Proud of the strong, confident young woman my daughter was becoming despite everything that had tried to break her. "Thank you for everything you did, for listening to her, for taking it seriously, for asking me that question." Amanda smiled. I almost didn't. Part of me worried I was overreacting, that I'd look foolish if it turned out to be nothing. But I've learned to trust my instincts when a kid tells me something's wrong, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it seems impossible. That simple decision to trust a child's report and ask an uncomfortable question had changed everything, had stopped an escalating stalking situation before it turned violent, had given Lily the message that adults would believe her and protect her, had shown me that sometimes the best parenting is simply listening and taking action. 8 years later, Lily was 15 and asked if she could meet her mother. Not alone, not unsupervised, but in a controlled setting with Dr. Winston present. I agreed because it was Lily's choice, and she'd done the therapeutic work to be ready. The meeting took place at Dr. Winston's office on a Saturday afternoon. Kristen arrived early, nervous, older looking now, but healthier than during her trial. She'd been out of prison for 5 years, working as a medical transcriptionist, living a quiet life, attending therapy weekly. Lily walked in holding my hand, then let go and sat across from her mother, the woman she hadn't seen since she was 7 years old. "Hi," Lily said simply. Kristen's eyes filled with tears. "Hi, baby. You've grown so much." They talked for 45 minutes while Dr. Winston and I observed. Kristen apologized for the trauma she'd caused, for the fear, for violating Lily's sense of safety. She didn't make excuses, didn't minimize her actions, just owned them completely. Lily listened, asked questions about her mother's treatment and understanding of what had happened. At the end, she said, "I'm not ready for regular visits, but maybe we could do this again in a few months, with Dr. Winston." Kristen nodded, accepting the boundary. "Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just grateful you gave me this chance to apologize." That night, Lily processed the meeting with me. She seems different, sadder, but maybe more real. I chose my words carefully. People can change if they do the work. Your mother did a lot of therapy, took responsibility for her actions, but that doesn't mean everything goes back to normal. Some things can't be unbroken. Lily nodded. "I know, but maybe we can build something new. Not like before, but something that works for now." Her wisdom at 15 exceeded what I'd had at 35. The meetings continued every few months, always supervised, always with clear boundaries. Lily was in control of the frequency and format, and Kristen respected every limitation without pushing. It wasn't a fairy tale reunion, but it was something healthier than what had existed before. On Lily's 16th birthday, she made regionals in swimming, placing third in her event. In the stands, Kristen sat in the designated area her parole allowed, far enough away to respect boundaries, but close enough to watch her daughter compete. They didn't interact at the event, but afterward, Lily sent her a text. Just, "Thanks for coming," with a photo of her medal. Progress, slow and boundaried and healthy. 10 years after that night, I'd watched Kristen on my security camera. I stood in my kitchen making coffee and thought about how far we'd come. The cameras were still installed, though I rarely checked them anymore. The alarm system was updated and secure. Lily was 17 now, applying to colleges, looking at schools with strong swim programs. She had a relationship with her mother that was limited but functional, built on clear boundaries and mutual respect. She'd learned young that love didn't excuse violation, that caring for someone meant respecting their autonomy and safety. Lessons I wished she hadn't had to learn, but that would serve her well in adult relationships. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda Reeves. She sent occasional updates about her current students, asked about Lily's swimming career. This message said simply, "Just had to ask a parent if someone was entering their child's room at night. Thought of you and Lily. Hoping this one ends as well." I texted back encouragement, knowing she'd do what needed to be done, that she'd ask the uncomfortable questions, that she'd believe the child and take action, just like she'd done for my daughter a decade ago. One question, asked at the right moment, had changed everything. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe and like to not miss the next story.